Thank you for joining me for another episode of Sam's Tech Stuff. Today, we're taking a look at the EnGenius Freestyl 2 analog telephone. The Freestyl 2 is a phone that provides a huge coverage zone versus standard dect office telephones. EnGenius rates the distance on the Freestyl 2 handset up to an insane 100,000 square foot building or 10 acres of open distance. This kind of distance from a traditional analog telephone is basically unheard of. We're going to take a look at what's included, and then we're going to test out the distance ratings. I'm going to start a test call and see how far away I can travel from my start location before I lose the call. Before we get into the equipment testing, if you're interested in component reviews like this one, gaming PC or server builds, or just tech stuff in general, definitely get subscribed to the channel and click the bell icon below for future video notifications. I'll be linking out to the Freestyl 2 in the description below, as well as my latest gaming PC build, so definitely make sure to check that as well. The Freestyl 2 is a 900 MHz cordless phone system that boasts incredible wireless range. Here I have the basic kit, which consists of the base unit, the phone charger, the phone itself, as well as the battery, and the cradle and clip accessory. This kit is enough to get you started with one analog phone, but can actually be expanded up to 9 total handsets. This will create a long-range wireless phone system. This is a little bit different from the other EnGenius equipment that I've looked at in the past. This phone is really targeting large physical businesses with big warehouses, or just a big footprint in general, inside or outside. EnGenius specifically calls out larger home estates, farms, ranches, as well as hospitality entities, or even use for security firms that have guards stationed at front gates or parking attendants at large city events. The value offering here really seems to be that EnGenius has a fully featured phone system with incredible distance at a very low cost. Since the primary use for this phone system will be businesses, very good to see that there are no licensing fees. Businesses that need to get employees communication devices that do not want to pay for things like cell phone bills, wireless access points, digital phones, licensing for the digital phones, will probably really like this. All of the handsets connect wirelessly to the base, and the base can accept either a PSTN analog line or just connect to a digital phone system. This is going to cut down on licensing for digital phone systems, which will definitely be a plus. This phone system also supports the handsets functioning as a two-way radio with their two-way intercom feature. So in the example that this is used with security staff, some staff can be inside, some staff can be outside on a patrol, for example, and they could all contact each other without making an outside phone call, which is very handy. Like I mentioned, these phones don't require any wireless access points, and this will cut down on cost quite a bit. The phone system also has a ton of other nice features like push-to-talk, call hold, call logs, transferring, the standard stuff like caller ID and call waiting, as well as 3.5mm audio ports. I'll put the link to the datasheet in the description below so you can check that out for a full list of all functionality. This seems to be a pretty interesting way to expand a digital phone system, for example, to the edges of your building or the edges of the campus, or even to deploy at a smaller offsite where cost is a really big factor. My testing today will be to connect the Freestyl 2 to my ObiHi, which is using my Google Voice phone number. If you have an active internet connection, a Google Voice account, and I believe you do need to be in the US, you can actually set this whole system up with the ObiHi and use this phone basically for free for domestic calling. My ObiHi is connected to my network. The Freestyl 2 base unit is connected to my ObiHi. In order to test the range out on this unit, I'm going to leave the base unit inside of my basement at my start location. I'm going to start a phone call from the Freestyl 2 to my cell phone, put my cell phone on mute, and then test the phone call every so often by speaking to the handset and listening to my cell phone on speaker. I'm going to see how far away I can get from my start location before the phone call gets fuzzy or drops altogether. I found that this was a little bit difficult to do. I actually started the experiment by walking away from my start location. I walked as far as I could in terms of the size of my neighborhood, and the call actually did not drop. I made it about 0.28 miles, or roughly 450 meters as the crow flies according to Google Earth from my start location. There were several houses, trees, businesses, and basically the equivalent of 4 town blocks in between my start location and my end location. This kind of distance seems pretty crazy, but the call never dropped. So I actually had to go back to my start location, hop into my car, and test while driving away from my start location, all hands-free of course. I made it about 0.75 miles away from my start location, again as the crow flies measured on Google Earth, when the call actually dropped. Just before it dropped, it started getting fuzzy, but it didn't take very long to drop, so probably somewhere around 0.7 or 0.72 miles. Interestingly enough, the environment between my start location and where I ended up finishing the test after driving was quite a bit different than my first test. In the second test, where I was driving, there was an elevation change of about 200 to 300 feet. In between my start location and my finish location, there was also a densely packed forest or park area. There was also an RV dealership, which, as you probably can guess, has a lot of RVs, big metal boxes, in between the start and my finish location. So overall, I'm pretty impressed that I was actually able to get about 3/4 of a mile away from my start location before the phone call basically dropped. That is pretty much mind-blowing for an analog telephone. The Freestyl 2 comes in at about $310 on Amazon, and it looks like it's been generally in pretty good stock lately. The expansion handsets are about $140 as well, and you can add up to 9 of them. Considering the fully featured capability of this analog phone and the obviously crazy distance, this seems like a pretty reasonable price to me. The devices can function like two-way radios, which might cut down on the quantity of devices that the staff have to carry, and ultimately, hopefully, are going to save you some cost. You won't be using access points, you won't be licensing any of these devices. It'll make this solution much simpler. Let me know in the comments section what you thought about this solution, or if solutions like this are something that you want to see more showcased on the channel. I'll be linking out to the Freestyl 2 in the description below, so definitely check that out. If you're interested in tech products, gaming PCs, or servers, also get subscribed to the channel and hit that bell icon below so you get future video notifications.